Buenos días, raza. ¿Cómo están? Voy a ir a agarrar mis glasses porque no voy a poder leer hasta allá. Y ay, mero, no se va a ver el abanico arriba de mis orejas. Good morning, beautiful, empowered, and brave ladies. ¿Cómo amanecieron? Can you believe my coffee's already cold? It's not cold in the house, and I'm glad it's not cold in Texas anymore. It's kind of weird, but it's not. I don't know why I'm not seeing any messages here. I got 19 people here. I can't see any messages, so I don't know if Good morning. I don't know what's going on. Anyways. I wanted to thank you all for your prayers. Sometimes we just feel like, we don't feel like doing anything. I don't feel like doing anything. If I don't feel good, I don't come on lives. I don't do TikToks. And it's weird because if you're used to seeing me in the morning saying, hey, ¿cómo amanecieron? ¿Está su cafecito calentito? And then I don't do it. You're probably going like this. Where is she? Where is she? But you all that know me know that I've been dealing with an iron deficiency for over a year. And sometimes that iron deficiency just takes the most out of me. And sometimes I'm okay. But I don't know, besides taking iron pills, I don't know what I can do to control my body from being iron deficient. I can't eat more than what I'm supposed to, or I'll start sneezing and stuff. And you can only eat so much meat and stuff that has iron, right? Beans and stuff. So it's like, oh well, c'est la vie. Such is life. We deal with it as it comes. But I did want to come on here and thank everybody, but I just don't know why I don't see any reactions. I don't see any. I don't see the conversation at all, if it's there. So we're going to still keep going like if it was, because I will make this a short video just to thank you all for your prayers and for being aware that, hey, I had not come out for a couple of days. And usually that it does mean that I just don't feel up to it, or I feel like out of the weather. I don't usually get that out of the weather if it's a cold or whatever, but usually my thing is if I get weak, or if I just feel like I'm keep running out of air. Can you believe that? We're surrounded by air, and sometimes we feel like we're running out of it. I can walk a few times. Sometimes I can walk from here to the street which is like 125 feet from my house, and run out of air. Uh, if I'm iron deficient at the time, I will run out of air. But I haven't been, so it's like I don't know if I don't know how my body is handling the iron deficiency, but most of the time the way it handles it is, or the warning sign is, a shortness of breath. So I'm just giving you all what I've been dealing with. That way, if it happens to you, don't be scared. It's probably an iron deficiency, so get checked. If you're running out of breath, out of air, and you're really not doing nothing that's heavy or strenuous, walking from your house to your car, and you're running out of breath, have your doctor check your iron levels. That's how I started noticing that I had an actual problem. And I was still in denial because I didn't feel sick. You don't feel sick. You don't feel like you're sick of anything except you're running out of air. And then you get sent on an emergency to an emergency room, and you're like, why am I taking up a bed that belongs to somebody that is sick? And you're still in denial about being the one that's actually sick, and one foot in the grave and the other one is still standing here saying, I'm not sick. A lot of us get in denial mode about a lot of things. We get in denial mode about a lot of things, but our health is one of the biggest denial modes that we get into, and I get defensive about it. I still tell the doctor. She tells me I'm in denial, and I tell her she's a pill pusher, and we both laugh, and then, we keep going with whatever I'm there for. But, don't, if I come up here live and tell you all, hey, don't let it go. Don't let too many days go. If you feel like you're running out of air and all you're doing is walking from the door to your car, go to your doctor, make an appointment. Don't do what I did and let it go for over a year. I had been telling my sisters, I don't know what I did. I didn't do anything. I was just sitting on the tractor, cutting the yard, sitting on the tractor, not pushing a lawnmower, sitting on a tractor. And I still got tired. That's not, if you're sitting on something and it's doing the work, why would you be tired? It's something that you should enjoy doing because you're out there getting some sun, a little bit of sun, vitamins from the sun and the energy that God gives us, and then you still feel tired. Why? You shouldn't feel tired by sitting on a tractor and cutting the yard. But I was. And I was to the point where I was complaining to myself. We don't get sick that often. So we like put it on the back corner, and forget about it. And keep on going with what we're doing. So, I'm just here to tell y'all, hey, stop for a minute. Listen to what others are saying, and instead of laughing at what they're telling you, because it might seem weird or funny to you that somebody would come up here and purposely tell you, hey, this was happening to me, especially after being told, don't say nothing about yourself on social media because the haters are gonna go run with it. And I'm going to say, you know what? Run with it as fast as you can. Tell as many people as you can. Because it was happening to me. And I was ignoring it for over a year. Because there was no reason for me to be tired just because I was walking outside to my car or to the mailbox. But I was. There was no reason why I would be tired and out of breath. But my body was telling me, you're out of breath. there's something wrong. And I kept ignoring it. How many people ignore the little things and end up in a 3x9 or a 3x8 because they ignored it and it could have been taken care of, but they ignored it. And they were like, oh, but the haters are going to run with it if they find out I'm sick. Guess what? I don't care. I don't care who knows that I was sick 2024 and 2025 to the point of being in an emergency room and complaining because I was there and I was taking up somebody else's bed that should have been for an actually sick person because I was in denial about being sick. But I don't want you all, my social media friends, to be in denial about an illness that could be cured if you nip it on the butt. If you know the symptoms, if you know that it's something that hasn't been happening to you before, and you can get to your doctor before it starts getting out of hand. It's like, pay attention to your body. Your body usually will be the first one to give you the warning. An itch that you never had or whatever. But to actually not tell you all my symptoms because the haters would run with it would be me doing you wrong. Because the more that we share what's going on in our personal lives, the better off the next person that knows the symptoms will be. We didn't get to the position that we're in medically because people weren't paying attention. People were paying attention and they were listening. And that's how we got to where we're at in the medical field. Those doctors are not stupid. Maybe we are because we didn't go to college. I didn't go to college. Oh, well. But that doesn't matter, going to college or not going to college. I've been here sitting back watching different things and I laugh. I don't know why some people are so worried about, Velda running for mayor. Or, we're that bad, to the point where we're going to be butting in. And I laugh because, when Ophelia ran for mayor, somebody paid for a bunch of signs to be put out bad-mouthing Ophelia. And the city allowed it. They never made that person take those signs off or nothing. And for me and Ophelia, it didn't matter. Because the whole running for mayor thing in a town where there's 10,000 people and only 1,200 people vote, the outcome is already well known, right? It didn't matter to us. What mattered to us during that election was only to make an example of anybody. Do you honestly think that if any of the 10,000 people that actually live in Willacy County cared about what was going on in Willacy County, besides looking out through their windows to see who's having an affair with who, which police officer is doing things they're not supposed to, and which city official is doing things they're not supposed to, Or who's hiding at the Antlers Inn with somebody else? Besides those kind of gossipy things, do you really think they care what else is going on around here? If they did, they would show up to the city council meetings, and they don't. So obviously, looking out the window or driving by the Antlers Inn or by any of the other 3 hotels that are around here to see whose car's parked there and who that person might be with is more important than going to a city meeting or going to an election office to vote for change. Ophelia didn't argue about the signs that were put up, and Ophelia didn't argue about the votes. The outcome was what we wanted and we got. So our $500 for the signs that Ophelia made and for the application that Ophelia filled out was well spent, because the outcome that came out was what we wanted. And even if Ophelia only got 50 or 40 or 30 or 10 votes, the person that we didn't want to be elected didn't get elected because of those 10 votes, or because of those 50 votes or 40 votes or however many it was. We did not get a recount because it didn't matter. In a county where there's 10,000 constituents and only 14 or 1,200 to 1,400 went to vote, it doesn't matter. If you don't go to the council meetings and if you don't go and vote, it doesn't matter what's going on in this town. Look the other way. That's what everybody else does. They just look the other way, don't they? Oh, that person's having an affair. Oh, well, just look the other way because the wife doesn't care. She'll just throw him out and take him back in a couple of months when he doesn't know how to pay his bills, and she'll be sorry for him and take him back in. Because you seriously think that these men can have an affair? If they could have an affair and afford it when they live on their own, then I would believe that they're worth something. But the only time they can have an affair and actually afford an affair is when they're living with their wives and their wives are paying the bills. Otherwise, a -0 is never going to add up to anything. He's never going to have extra cash in his pocket unless he's living with his wife, because she's paying the bills. And that's the only way that -0 is going to have extra cash in his pocket. So why do you think I can come on here and say beautiful, empowered, and brave women? Because you all are the ones that are keeping those houses together and going forward. Never let anybody belittle you because you're a woman. Believe you me, that man would not be having an affair if you weren't paying all the bills in that household. Because we already know anybody can go to the Attorney General's office and tell him, hey, he owes me child support. Take the DNA test and make him pay me my child support before he gets out of the house. And then we'll see how much he can afford the next woman or the next woman's children's. Why am I doing this? Because yesterday I was hearing somebody belittling the past of somebody else. That was the Raymondville PD calling me up. Let me call them back. Thank you for being with me. They finally found my number.